and a warm welcome. You've joined us on Commodity Central right here on ET Now. I'm Ashesha Advaryu and we are in conversation with the management of Shree Renuka Sugar, and Deepak Ballani of ISMA is also now joining us, and we are putting the spotlight on the sugar sector because the food minister has announced that the government has said that the centre has decided to allow sugar exports to the tune of 1.5 million tons for sugar season 25-26. And to understand what the outlook is going forward, we have our guest joining us now, and let's go across to Mr. Chaturvedi then. And we were making a point on how exports have been restricted over the last few years, and now that the government has gone ahead and relaxed these, since you were making your point on whether does it make economical sense to export, please make your point. Please go ahead with what you were saying.
No, what I was saying was at these values, exports from India may not be booming. But what will also happen is, and it's a welcome sign, that the bottoming of the sugar prices would be arrested, because with the large crop looming, there were full expectations that the sugar values would come under pressure and the mills would be selling sugar much cheaper. So that would definitely get arrested, and that is a definite sign. And in this, I think even the molasses export duties being removed is also a welcome sign, and that would also arrest the fall of the molasses values in the country. So it's basically, I would say, work in process, but the big ticket announcement which the industry is expecting is MSP increase, an increase in price of ethanol from sugar, as well as the quantity to be diverted from sugar sector to ethanol. These are our expectations or wish list. Yeah.
All right, so that is your wish list from the government. But Mr. Chaturvedi, if you can realistically tell us, do you expect the announcement on either of these to come in over the next few months, whether it is export, whether it is ethanol prices or MSP on sugar?
देखिए, there is a saying in Hindi, उम्मीद पे दुनिया जिंदा है. So for us, it is very, very important, if the industry has to survive, it's important that these decisions are taken. Otherwise, the health of the farming sector, for which the government has been increasing the FRP, and even Karnataka has gone ahead with announcing the state administered prices, state advised prices, all these things will have a negative effect on the farmers going forward if the industry's health is compromised. So for the health of the industry, we feel that the government, and this is a very, very proactive government, and I'm sure the government is aware, and this decision of opening of exports and reducing the molasses duty is probably a work in process, and it's a step in the right direction. So we are hopeful that the government would come up with this. And to add to all this, government has been our Prime Minister, Honorable Prime Minister, has been talking about reducing sugar consumption. One way of reducing sugar consumption is to ensure that the sugar prices in the country are reasonably high, which will ensure that the consumption comes down. And sugar should not be treated as a sugar sector. It should be treated as an energy sector, and more diversion to ethanol. Yep.
Right, and Mr. Ballani, let's also get you into the conversation. Your thoughts on the export relaxation that has been given by the government. Is it in line with what you were expecting?
First of all, ISMA welcomes the government's decision to permit the export of 1.5 million tons of sugar in 25-26 sugar season. And in fact, this is based on our request, keeping in mind the surplus production of sugar in 25-26. And this decision will definitely enable the industry to plan their production pattern in advance and also channelize surplus sugar into the global market. And the benefit it will achieve is that it will ease the domestic stock pressure. And this will also strengthen the domestic market sentiment and somewhere also support the price stability within the domestic sugar sector. As you know, we had announced a few days back that our estimated sugar production in 25-26 will be around 343.5 lakh tons. And with 34 lakh tons diversion in ethanol, we are expecting a sugar production of 310 lakh tons. And keeping in mind that we will have our domestic consumption to the tune of around 285 lakh tons, we were expecting around 75 lakh tons at the end of the season. And based on this, we had requested for export of 20 lakh tons. And we are happy that the government has agreed to our demand and at least has given an export permission for 15 lakh tons. This is definitely a very good move by the government to support the industry.
All right, so very good move by the government to support the industry. But Mr. Ballani, what will your thoughts be on whether exports could be further expanded and extended for the rest of the sugar season? Mr. Chaturvedi was just highlighting that perhaps he is not very gung-ho when it comes to exports. Would you concur with this view?
Obviously, see, basically, depending on the clarity we will have, because season has just started, and we will have greater clarity on the production estimates going forward based on the prevailing trends and the weather condition. And as and when the government feels that we are heading for almost the same kind of a production which we have estimated, it could perhaps give additional permission as well.
All right, so the government could give additional permission when it comes to exports. That's the word coming in. Mr. Chaturvedi, let's also talk about the inventory situation and pricing in the domestic environment. You did tell us that the sugar inventory situation in the domestic market is very stable. Consequently, where do you see sugar prices headed? Do you expect them to remain range bound?
Absolutely. In fact, this decision of the government to allow exports would ensure that the fall which was expected during the peak crushing season might get arrested. So my take is that the sugar value should remain range bound and not too much of a pressure. But as far as the crushing season is concerned, during the season, the industry also diverts a lot of juice into ethanol. So all these things should ensure that the collapse in the sugar prices, which the industry and everybody stakeholders were expecting, that may not happen. And as far as exports are concerned, a lot will depend how the world market moves. At this point of time, the world value is at around $410 and going forward another discount of about $20-30 may not be very, very beneficial for exporting sugar, but who knows what the scenario comes out, as Mr. Ballani was saying. If the sugar crop becomes much bigger than what we are expecting at this point of time, then obviously something might actually go. Yeah.
All right, so that's as far as exports is concerned, but also wanted your thoughts on demand that is shaping up across geographies. Mr. Ballani, if you can come in on this one, how has demand for Indian sugar been in the global market, and do you expect that to inch higher going forward?
See, our traditional markets have been Afghanistan, Djibouti. So there are markets for raw sugar like Indonesia, Singapore, and other. We also have our own port-based refineries who basically buy raw sugar under advanced licenses. We also have a traditional market for whites, as I said, Djibouti, some African countries, Afghanistan. And perhaps with early permission, our millers and traders could perhaps enter into advanced future contracts, which might see well-planned exports happening in times to come.
All right, Mr. Ballani and Mr. Chaturvedi, thank you so much for taking your time out and joining us here on ET Now and helping us understand what the domestic inventory situation is looking like and what relaxation of export what it means for the entire sugar sector. On that note, we need to slip into a very short break, but more news and updates will continue on the other side.